Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. We're going to get started here pretty soon. Before we get started, I am going to just let you guys know that this is our last workshop. And we really look forward to doing these workshops with everyone. And thank you for participating in these workshops. Guille, do you want to explain what's happening next before we start?
Can you do that?
Well, remember you were talking about the study group and things?
No, we are not ready to announce.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're going to be announcing later on what we're going to be doing next. So sorry about that for the confusion. So let's just get started on the workshop. If you can take a peek at my screen, I'm sharing it. I hope you all can see it. I'm going to give you a little demo of what we're going to be creating today, all within your Qoom account. So Guille, if you can go to the URL and maybe send me a message, and then Guille and I are going to give you a kind of example of like a chat we're going to do. So I can write, hello, Guille. Send Guille a message.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
I need to open the file.
All right. Okay. So Guille signed in as Qoom, and I can say, how are you doing? And then send her a question. I'm pretty good. Then I can also send her images. I can just send HTML over to her. So I can send an image over. So I can go over here. Guille likes minions. So I can send her a little minion picture to cheer her up, even though she said she was doing good. Like this one. I can go right here, copy the image address. And the same thing works with videos, and I can send YouTube videos and all over. And Guille and I can have a private chat. Anyone who has this URL can actually join the chat. And there's also ways to add like a little question mark here and add like your own private rooms. So you can have a chat with someone, send them a secret message or a secret picture or whatever, and then it doesn't get saved anywhere. So the idea of this is it's a very simple application, but I think with a powerful use. So if you're like texting someone on Facebook or some other medium, that data is getting saved, it's getting mined, it's not really private. But if you use this app that you create and you own the code, you get to decide what you want to save and not save. And since it's extra work for us to learn how to save things, we're not going to do the saving because just for the matter of time. So we're going to learn how to first design this UI so that you can have a nice little UI. Then we're going to go into the JavaScript and learn how to know how to connect with someone else accessing the same page you are, but on a different device in a different browser. And throughout this workshop, we're going to have series of exercises that you get to work on, so you guys can make your own custom look and feel and add potentially some custom functionality into this. Before we get started, anyone have a question about the project we're working on, or just a question in general?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure, Abraham.
The app, is it like a social media app?
Yeah, it is like a social media app, but you own the code, basically.
Oh, okay, cool. So for somebody to chat on it, the person must have like the code address. So I don't understand how we're going to connect two people to chat on it.
Yes. So there's a technology called Sockets, WebSockets, and a library called Socket.io that we're going to utilize to connect through a server. You're gonna tunnel through a server. So all the server is going to do is connect browser to browser. It's not going to look at the data. It's not going to save any of the data, and basically hand off data. Basically connect two browsers together and form a pipe that you would talk to.
Wow.
Much like when you pick up your phone and you dial a phone number and you call your friend. Instead of dialing a phone number, you would enter a URL in the address bar.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Great
I
question.
said thank you.
What was that?
No, I said thank you.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. Anyone else have a question before we start? All right, then let's get started then. All right. So this is going to be the challenge. Okay. So we're going to walk through this guide and you guys can walk at a self-pace if I'm going too slow or too fast. But this is the guide I'm going to go through and walk you through. And I kind of gave you a demo of the app already. When we start our workshops, we always give you a couple links. This first link here gives you all the code. So you can just copy and paste that if you get behind. And the second link is a link of resources. So topics that we talked about in this lesson are mentioned in these articles, and you can go in and read more about them and follow your own curiosities. Because we're just going to touch the surface of all these things. And it's up to you guys to take the initiative to go into these links and learn more. And this last one, Socket.io, this is that library I was mentioning we use. And I'm just going to show you it. They have their own learning resources. They have demos. So they have like a whiteboard demo where you can draw. So all the stuff you can do with our system. And then the other thing is, if you're curious about how the server works, there's information on how to create your own socket server. So you can, if you needed to look at the person's data, or if you wanted to do something on the server side, you can learn about how the server works. So there's a lot of good resources in here to learn more. All right, going back to our project now. So what we're going to be focusing on in the HTML, again, like last week, is how to create a web app that looks nice on the mobile phone. Since most people do chatting on the phone, I want to teach you how to use this app you're creating on the phone. And I also want to show you guys how to actually put this as an app on your phone. So you don't have to go to like Safari or Chrome and enter the URL. You can just have like an icon on your phone and you double click on it and it will immediately open this up. So I'll show you how to do that. On the CSS side, I'm gonna, again, it's gonna be more review on the Flex and Grid system. And it's just using those two CSS technologies to make what we want look nice. And then finally, we're gonna go into the JavaScript and we're gonna import, again, Socket.io, that third-party library. And we are going to be then jumping into the sockets and learning how to do the communication through what are called events. So you're basically going to emit an event. That's just like you talking through the phone. And then you're going to receive the event, which is like you hearing someone through the receiver on the phone. And then writing just very simple functions to display in the browser what happens in those two cases. All right, so if you haven't already, if you guys can create an account by going to www.qoom.io, and you just click this get started. It's free. Sign up, create an account, and you'll be good to go to start working in a coding space. Okay. All right. Let me know if anyone doesn't have a coding space or doesn't know how to do that. don't know, is anyone like new to the workshop, or is everyone a repeat visitor? Quiet means that everyone's good. Okay. All right, but please speak up if you have questions, because other people might have questions too. And also helps me as an instructor to make sure that none of our times are wasted. Okay, so let's start by creating our web app layout. And to do that, we need to start creating our page. So I am in my coding space. Again, I have a pro account so that I have my own custom domain name. But if you have a free account, you'll have some random thing .qoom.space. But the UI should be the same. To create a new project, just go here, create a new folder. And let's enter, give this project a name, like I'm gonna call it Secret Chat. All right. So I've created that folder. I'm gonna go into that folder now. And I'm gonna create a new file where I'm gonna create my app. So I'm gonna call it app.html because it's an app. And I'm using HTML to create it in. So seems like a good name. Get into my HTML. Now I can start to work on my structure. So if I look at the design of this app, looks like someone logged in as null. Okay, interesting, cool. What you see is you have this big gold section back and forth, and then you have like a header, you have this main area where chat messages come in, and down here you have a footer or a bottom where you input messages. So it's really 3 rows here. So I have a header, and then I'm call it the main section, and then my footer, and that's basically how I'm going to design my HTML. Let me get rid of the zoom thing. All right, make that full screen. All right. So in the body, I'm just going to put in header, main, and footer. Okay. All right. So, I'm just going to walk you guys through how this works again. So I'm going to put some word here like head, and then main and footer, foot, I guess. So you just guys can see these 3 sections. Okay. And I'm going to make my notes over here so that I can follow along my notes while I show you how to do this. All right. Now, there's going to be a point where we're going to need to look at this full screen, but we're just going to keep it with the panel here for right now. And let's just start styling these things. So I'm going to create a style element. And I want to style my body so that my head, main, and footer kind of take up that whole section. So if I go to my chat room again, enter my name. Whoops. Oh, wait. The Zoom is in my way. All right. So you can see I have this black bar here. So I'm just going to, in my header, I'm going to do body first. My body here is the size of this entire screen. So I'm going to give it a background color of that gold color. And I'm just going to call it gold. And I'm going to make the width 100% of the screen. So if you look at this, I will have my whole background being this gold color. But I really also want to make sure the height of my body is always 100% of the page. So I'll just put a height of 100 VH. And I have a nice gold screen. So that kind of gives me a look of this goldness. Now I'm going to put my head and my main and my footer in these 3 rows using the grid system. So display grid, because I want to display these things in a 3-row grid. And I can do grid template rows. And as soon as I did a display grid, I don't know if you noticed, but it made 3 rows right away for me: head, main, and foot. And then next I'm going to put in, I want to make my head a lot smaller and my footer to be down here. So I want to size everything. So I can use this grid template rows to size everything. So let me check to see what I have here. So what I figured out, 64 pixels is a good height for the header. And then auto, my main is just going to fill in the difference. And my footer is 100 pixels. Okay. So you can see my footer here is about 100 pixels. My main is here. My head is 64 pixels high. But my head and main and foot are all over to the left. So now I just need to put them in the middle. So I'm going to add some columns here, grid template columns. And I have 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And I'm basically going to have, there are going to be 3 columns: auto, 600 pixels, auto. Okay. And now things are up here. Things are kind of messed up. And the reason why is I only have 3 elements in here. And basically what it's saying is it fits the first 3 elements in the first column as 3 things. So I need to now go into header and tell it to have the header to go into the second column. I don't want the header to be in the first column. So I can go, there's this thing called grid column start, where I want it to go from the second column to the third column. 3. Oh, end, I'm sorry. And what I can do now is do that for my header, my footer, and my main, making sure that it's all those elements are in that second column. Okay. All right, so now I have 1 column here. I have 600 pixels, and then there's this missing 3rd column here. So if I put like a background color here of black, yeah, I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. And then I can make my text white. And so you can see that head again. So what I'd like you guys to do now is catch up with what I did, but pick your own color scheme for the main app. Like right now, mine is gold, black, and white. That's kind of the main color scheme of my app, and those are the 3 colors I have. So I'm just gonna fill in my colors here. I'm gonna put white here, and then I'm gonna put white in my footer here too. So you guys spend like 5 minutes catching up and trying to pick your own color scheme. And when you're done, if you guys can just send a link on the Zoom chat, then I'll know what you guys are doing and ask any questions you might have. I'm going to shut my window in the intro. It's very loud. Okay. Oh, it looks like Ruan already sent us a link. Thank you, Ruan. I'm going to take a look. All right. Ruan, looks like you only have 2 colors, blue and black. Do you want to add a 3rd color? Okay. Oh, Laura, you got one too. All right, let me look at it. Oh, I like the red and blue. Did you want everything to be on the right-hand side like that, Lauren? Is that what you want? Let me show you what Laura did. See, Laura has her colors, pretty cool, and she has red. And I see the main isn't up there, so I want it centered. Okay, so I'm gonna look at your code, Laura. This is gonna be a great, great chance for me to review some of this stuff. So I think the very first problem you have is a typo. I think you have pretty much everything right, except this one typo. And the typo's on this line. Do you see where it is? Yeah, so just get rid of that. Yeah, just delete this X. And then it should be nicely centered for you. So let me reload the page here. All right, still no, it looks like it still has some issues there, right?
Yeah, Jared, there is a
Yep.
typo in
There's another
column.
Oh, there's no N here. Yeah, thank you. There was another typo there, Laura. Thanks. Yep, you're welcome. Okay, now everything looks pretty well centered. I'm just worried about why the main and the footer are attached. I think you're, oh, you got 100% here. So think about 100%. It will just be 100% of the container. And the body's container is HTML. And the HTML has no size properties on it. So it doesn't really do anything for you. So instead, you need to put 100 VW, which would be 100% of the width of the view screen. That's what VW means. And 100 VH is 100% the height of the view screen. Therefore, it knows what to be 100% relative to. So if you change those things, then the height of the body will stretch to the bottom of the page. And then this auto will be able to calculate the difference between 100 and 64. So if you did that, refresh. Okay, yeah, now it's looking perfect. Okay, now you have everything with a black bar around, with the red and blue. Okay, perfect. And I'm scrolling because 100% of the view screen is from here to here, so it just makes it that big. Okay. Cool. So that's, any other question anyone wants to send me? Kanya? All right, I got your Kanya. So let's see yours. Oh, okay. I like your color scheme. Very springy. I like the opposite season, but all right, I see an issue with the foot being over here. And the issue is it's just a spelling mistake here. This actually is the foot. It's not foot, but footer with the ER. And then this needs to be footer here with an ER, Kanya. So all you need to do is just use the right term, and then you'll be good. So it's like header with the ER and then footer with the ER kind of thing. Thank you for sharing, Kanya. Then that would have been frustrating. Okay, let me refresh and see what you got. Okay, you're still typing it. Okay. All right, I just need to change it in the CSS, and I think you're good. Yep, you're perfect now. Cool, thanks, Kanya. All right, I'm going to continue unless someone has another thing they want me to look at. All right, continuing on. All right, so now we got our structure of our page kind of built out. And we need to now kind of fill in the details. So a lot of these details are in the notes. I'm going to start again with the details inside the HTML. So in the HTML, in the header, I put an H1 element. So that way I can have like a nice big bold chat. So H1 element without any style will make things big and bold. And I put my little emoji there. And then in the main, I put 2 sample kind of chats. Because what I want to simulate is this idea of when I type something in, I want it to be on the right-hand side. And when someone else types something in, I want to see it on the left-hand side. So I kind of created 2 divs here. One is class me, meaning it's the things I typed. And the other one is a class you, meaning things that other people typed. And then I'm going to write some CSS and I'm going to simulate it. So this way allows me to style messages before I get my app working. So I'm just going to hard code these right now, and then later on we can delete them. And then the last detail is the footer. So the footer is going to be in a text area where I can write a bunch of text to send. And if you can see here, it puts this thing here that I can resize, I can type, I can add multiple lines. So it kind of gives me this nice little box that I can do things. And since users need help understanding what things are, I can give a little hint what to do here. So I can add a little instructions here, and this is called this placeholder attribute. It's like maybe type your message here. Okay. And the last detail is a button. And this is going to be like send or something. Again, I can put like a little emoji there. I can put in like a ghost if I wanted to. And I'll put a little ghost emoji there. So this is like a ghost chat. It's private chat. So it's like I can send a little ghost. But yeah, guys, spend just 5 more minutes again filling in your details for the HTML, kind of listing what you want to customize in the text. And send me a link if you're done or if you have a question. Ruan is asking if we can use an input. We can use an input. So you guys don't do this, but I'm just answering Ruan's question. If I put an input element here, it will give me a box, but I can't hit enter. If I hit enter, nothing happens. So I want to have more freedom about what I want to type. So I'm using a text area so that I can have more freedom, basically. I can type a multi-line message. I can type a novel in here. So that's why I'm using text area. So I'm going to give you guys to 4:35 to work on that. 1 more minute. And please ask any questions if you have them. All right, it's 4:35. Can someone send me at least one example? Just want to see what you guys have done. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want to make sure you guys are following along. So if one person can send me a link, that would be great. Thank you, Laura. And Ruan, thank you. I'll look at your guys's. Let me look at Laura's first. Ooh, I like it, Laura. Talk to people. All right, and I like how it's offsetted. That's pretty cool. Okay. And God, you have a way better color skill than I do. All right, let me look at Ruan's. Oh, Laura, okay, looks cool. Yours looks like Seahawks color scheme there, Ruan. I don't know if you like football or not. Looks like Seahawks to me. Cool. All right. And it looks like you guys even chatted, played with some of the styling too on your own. All right. Cool. All right. Now, what I'm going to do next is we're going to style everything, all the details now. And I'm just going to do a little bit for you, and then we're probably just going to copy and paste the remaining parts, because I know there's a lot here, but I want to, spend some time reviewing some things with you. So the very first thing I want to do is what's called reset the browser's defaults. So for example, here in my chat app, there's this gold bar above the black. I never told the code to put this space between the top and here. So yeah, I need like prevent the default, but it's not the prevent default in JavaScript. It's prevent default in CSS. And it's called CSS. The term for it is CSS resetting. So first of all, let me just show you what I'm talking about. If I go into this body here, I click this and the body is highlighted. You guys don't have to do this, but I just want to show you that I can inspect and see how the body has a gold banner around it. And if I go to this layout tab and look at it, it says there's this margin of 8 pixels. Well, I never added margin of 8 pixels. The browser does. And the browser does this for other elements too, like the H1. See, I added a margin of 21.44 pixels, kind of random there, that I didn't add, but the browser added. So I need to reset what the browser does so that I feel like I have more control. So to do that, people usually use the star element to say for every single element, I want the default to be 0. And if I do this, do you see how I got rid of the gold bar? And also if I go to my H1 now and inspect, there's no margin on that anymore too. So the star here means select every element and do this to it. And another thing is called padding, which is like margin, but it's the distance between the border of an element and the text. And it's a good idea to just put padding 0. And this other thing called box sizing, border box. And this is like the first style in the notes, but what box sizing will do is border box is when I say an element is a certain width and I add a padding or I add font size or something, the width doesn't grow beyond what I told it to do because I added a border or padding or something. So box sizing says, make the width always what I tell it to be. Like here, I'm telling it to be 100 VW, regardless of if I have a margin or anything else. So it just makes things more understandable. All right. So this will save some confusion later on as we style things. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is add Google Fonts. So I don't know, last week I went in and showed a lot how to make your own Google Fonts. But what I did is I went to fonts.google.com, and I'll put that on the chat. And I chose some fonts I like. Okay. And it created this link tag for me that I can use to download those fonts. And then in the in my elements, for example, in my button, I can add a style for my button, footer button, the button in my footer. I can give that a certain font family and see the font changes. And I can do the same thing with the H1 element in my header. I can go header H1, and I think I chose the font family. Yeah, the same font family as the button here. So I can start customizing my fonts here. Okay. Let me see. Another thing I'd like to show you is the centering of the message here, private chat. So the best way to center things in HTML is using display flex. So I'm going to flex everything inside my header. And I'm basically going to say I'm going to align everything to the center using this align item center. And that will, see how that put that perfectly in the middle? I don't have to worry about aligning things in the middle now. And then I can do justify content center. And that will center everything inside the thing. So now I have a perfectly centered private chat, vertically and horizontally. Okay. And so forth. And then the next thing is down in my footer, if you look at my example here, I have my button and my text area all nicely kind of butted against each other. So again, I'm just going to use display grid to do that again, because display grid allows me to just put things in a grid. So in my footer, I'm going to display that as grid. So when I say display grid here, I'm displaying things inside the footer. And I'm going to have two columns, auto and 80 pixels. So now I have my text area filling up automatically the space that this 80 pixels doesn't occupy. Okay. And, you know, then I kind of have my message. I mean, I got my general layout here. The last thing I want to show you is how we can style these two things. So, so again, this is in the main. So I can do main div, style the div in the main with a class me. So that's this dot here, me. And I can make that a different font family. I'm going to use Molly. So you can see how me is a different font than you here. And then I can do a text align right, because things that I want to say, I want on the right-hand side. So I just put them on the right-hand side. And then the same thing for you. I'm going to use the same font. I could use a different font if I wanted. And I'm going to do text align left. Okay. And then I can change the, then I can style all the divs. I can change here I can add another one for div, main div, for all divs, regardless if it's me or you, and I can make the width, 100% of the container, and font size. I can change the font size for both me and you to be like, I don't know, 24 pixels. And I can add some margin around it so that it's not butted against everything. Okay. So there we go. So now I have some margin. Actually, I want to add some padding here instead. I think padding is better. So I can show you what padding does. So padding adds the white space against this border here, where margin did it for the whole element. So I think padding actually is better what we want. So I can increase the amount of padding to like 24 pixels, and then everything's kind of separated more. And if I wanted to see what things look like what's the whole area, I can put a border here. Pixel like red, and you can kind of see, if I wanted to, I could build a little speech bubble here, which we're not going to do. But I just want to show you the border so you can see how there's 24 pixels from this border edge. And that's really what padding is. And if I put a margin here, it will go outside the border. So do you see how I now have 8 pixels around this red box? So that's the difference between margin and padding. So I'm gonna stick with padding here. That's mine. Okay. And I'm gonna get rid of my border here. Okay. So that was a lot I showed you. If it's too much for you to follow along, just copy the styles from the notes. So in the notes, let's see, where are my notes? I can show you the notes. You can copy and paste. Right here. You can copy all these styles here. But I wanted to walk you through it, so I didn't copy it. All right. So I'll give you guys another 5 minutes to play with the style. Let's say to 451. And Ruan's asking, for some reason, the me and you are not on the right and left. Okay. Okay, let's look at your code, Ruan. Oh, I have to look at your code. Let me go to inspect here. Oh, okay. This is a very good mistake you made because it's very instructive. So Ruan, what's going on is if you put a space, then it's going to look for an element inside the div. So this is only going to style a element. Like if you had like a div class me here and I said like something, then this is only going to style this div because me is inside of that div. What you are intending to do is style the div with class me. So you need to delete the space. If you delete the space, then it will select this element. Okay. All right. Great question. Oh yeah, and you added resize none. So thank you for doing that. So resize none will get rid of the bars here and prevent the user from being able to size it. So I'm going to do that on mine too. So I don't see I can resize my text area right now and mess up everything. So in my text area, in my footer, I can put resize none. And now everything is locked in place. Okay. All right, so I'll give you guys a few more minutes and ask any questions. Okay, Laura, let me look at your code. All right, go to edit. Your justify content isn't working. Let's see. It's usually some silly typo. Just have to look at it together. Oh, okay. So your justified content will only work in when you do display flex. So you need to put a display flex here. And then this will work. This is only for flex display. So display flex is okay, great question. So display flex is a set of rules you can put on to how items inside of an element are displayed. So this H1 element is displayed inside of header. So if I go here, let me just go ahead and inspect and kind of play with it with you guys. I go in here and my header is display flex. You can see that here, display flex. So that means this H1 element is where it goes, how it's displayed is going to be ruled by align items and justify content. So it's a way to control how things are laid out inside of other elements. So flex allows you to center things or push everything to the left or pushing everything to the right. So it allows you to put move elements relative to where their containers are. Yeah, I can send a link to the notes. Yeah, instead of just babbling through it. All right, let me get my notes again. So let me show you this web page here. So the Flexbox has these two axes on how things are displayed. One is this way in a row and the other one's in a column. And depending on what flex direction you pick, things are going to be in different directions. And by default, flex direction is row. And then how they're displayed in that direction is dictated by the by those align items and justify content. So there's a whole article here you can read. We went this through our first workshop. So I think Guille linked you to a link to our first workshop. Or no, you linked to the current. But if you go back to our all our workshops, you can read more about how that works. Okay. All right. And then display grid is like display flex, but it's a different set of rules you can put in to how things are laid out. And those rules dictate how things are put into a grid, not how they kind of fit in a row or a column. And you can read about that. Okay. All right. 452. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to copy all the style over. You can keep your styles if you want. It's not necessary. I just want to make things consistent with the notes. So I'm just going to copy the style over. And go from there. All right. And there's a couple other things in the notes that we should talk about. This first one, above the style element, you can add a title element. We never really talked about this. A title element, if I put like secret chat here, and I take this out of the frame, do you see how my tab says secret chat? Well, that is coming from this title element I added here. So I can just copy, I guess I'd call it a private chat. So I can just go over here, paste that in there, and then refresh. And then here it says private chat. I have a nice little icon here. So it looks, pretty cool. All right. And then also from the notes, there's this meta tag that you can copy. And this is needed so that the page looks nice on your mobile device. Because your mobile device is a very small pixels. So we need to scale those pixels to something relative to the width of the device so that these apps don't look so small. All right. So add those two things and whip out your phones if you have them and click this QR code and let's start developing this app on our phone further because we're reaching that point. So I'm going to, scan my QR code. Whoops. Took a picture. And therefore, I have my app that looks nice on my phone like this. Okay. I don't know if you guys see it, but my virtual background's kind of in the way, but that's what I have. It doesn't do anything yet because I haven't wrote any code, but it, it's starting to look like a real thing. Okay. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to do that till I'll give you guys to 4:57, I guess. Okay. And at least someone asked me one question. That'd be nice. I love it when I hear questions. The body of my web page doesn't resize when I change the browser size. Oh, really? Okay. Let me check it out. Laura, you're a busy kettle. Okay. All right, you have a cool little border there. Let me kind of make this resizable. Okay. Well, it seems to resize, but things kind of get cut off and things. Is that what you're saying? Laura, I guess I don't really see your issue. Are you saying that it crops and it kind of crops the app? Is that the issue you're having? It doesn't resize in the horizontal direction. Right. Kind of just crops there, right? Okay, got it. So I think that's because you have some fixed width there. And let's see where that would be. Oh, I see. Your width here is 100% of the height of the screen. So if I change the height of the screen, I bet it will change the width. See, when I change the height, it changes the width. So what you need to do is change this to a W so that it will be relative to the width of the screen. Great question. Okay. You're welcome. All right, I got my question. So now we can continue. I'm hoping everyone has it on their phone and then we can, because it'd be nice because we can actually talk with ourselves amongst our phone and our laptops or desktops using this app. So this could actually, if you ever need to send data from your phone to your desktop or your desktop to your phone, this is a way for you to be able to do that. Ruan is asking a question. Is it the media? So what this media query is saying is the height. So on our phone, we want to do something special on our phone. So we're saying if the device only has a width of 768 pixels or less, it's probably that the user's on the phone. And we want to add some additional rules to our body in this case. So one rule is change the height so that it's 100 VH minus 114 pixels. So the thing about the Safari browser, it adds the height of the address bar to the height of the screen. So we need to take that out so that things will fit nicely in the actual web page. So that's what that is for. And then grid template columns here is saying, basically make 100% of the available width to that middle column so that the thing would just fit nicely. We don't have any gold bars like we do in the desktop view, like here. So that's what that's saying. All right, thank you, Ruan. All right, cool. So let's get started on our next part of the notes. And let me bring that back over here. Oops. Okay, scroll up. Okay, so we just finished copying these styles. Oh, and then we're on to an exercise. So we already changed the colors. I think some of you changed the fonts. I think you guys already did this. So let's just move on to the next thing. Let's get into the JavaScript now. Before we copy all this code, I want to kind of walk you through what's going on. The next hour is going to be very JavaScript heavily. So we have like 3 sections of JavaScript to complete. And then I need you guys to ask me questions, slow me down if I go too fast. So the first thing we're going to do is load a library called Socket.js. And then load some code here so that we can initialize our socket. So basically, this is the code we need to put in so that we can talk to our web server and tell it that we need to set up a tunnel so that we can send secret messages from browser to browser. So that's what all this code is doing. Then this part right here is we would like to, when we start the application, ask the person what their name is and save that in the browser so that the person doesn't have to re-enter their name every time they chat. That way the other person knows who sends them the message. And this doesn't have to be your real name. It could be your fake name and such. So it's pretty simple exercise. And then the last thing we do is actually define the code so that when we click the button, we send the message. And when we send the message, we send it with this one line of code to all the other browsers that are listening. And then we update our main display to show what we just typed. And then finally, we have to add the same type of code here so that when we receive a message from someone, when we get a response from someone, we also display the message. And then we have some final exercises here where we can talk about how to create chat rooms and how to send images and videos and such. So that's what the next hour is going to look like. I just want to give you guys a high level view before we kind of go deep into it. Okay, make sure you have a question. Okay, I have a question. What does the script type module mean? What does the module do? I have a question. Okay, that's a great question. So starting with the notes, I think that's the very first thing. Second thing we do. All right, so before I get there, Ruan, I just want to make sure everyone adds the Socket.io.js to the script so that we load that library in. And again, we're loading this from your server. So this is code that's running on your web server. We're not loading it from some third-party site. And then the second thing is we need to create a script of type module. Okay, and I'll answer your question, Rowan. I'm just going to type it up. So this has been a question in the other workshops as well. What this allows you to do is write JavaScript in here in a way that can that will be able to find these elements. So to give you a visual example, I'm going to put in, I'm going to find a variable here to hold the main element. You could, but then you would need to add in an onload event listener, which is more complicated. So you can do like a document.onload or something. But here, let me just kind of give you an example of what's going on. I'm going to go find this main element. Okay. And if with the module here, what's going to happen is the browser is going to read all this code before it runs this code. Without module, it will read all this code, and then it will jump into the JavaScript, do this. So if without module, it will do this, and it will look for a main element, but it hasn't read it yet. So this will be null. But with the module, it'll read everything first, and then it will do this code, and then it's encountered this main element, and it will be able to find it. So if I refresh and inspect here, I go to console. I can see what's in my $main. Wait, did not save. Constant main. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I should do console main, console log. Let me do it that way. Okay, wait for it saving, refresh. All right, see now it outputted main, so it found it fine. Do that again without the other stuff. So it outputted it fine. Now if I get rid of module and refresh, it's null because it couldn't find it, hasn't read it yet. Okay. Null is nothing. Yep. Yeah, you can do it without module, but you would have to put this in whole function and call the function. Or you could put the script tag inside here and do it here, but then you're kind of mixing up what goes in the head and the body, and it's kind of bad design. Okay. All right, so in our code, I'm going to delete this. And since there's a lot of JavaScript and it's just boilerplate JavaScript, I'm just going to copy what's in the code. And I have comments here telling you what it does. There's really nothing to really learn about the language in this code. It's more of really just boilerplate code. So in my comments, I describe what it does. And the important thing to notice is that we have a placeholder here that when we receive a message from someone, we can write code here so that we can handle that response. And I'm going to show you the console log in this exercise next. So here we can also define what to do when someone joins our chat room and what to do when someone leaves the chat room. And what I'm doing here is I'm just console logging when their socket ID when they're connected and logging their socket ID when they're disconnected. So the next exercise is to make sure this is working. So again, I'm going to go to my page and I'm going to hit refresh. And this is where it's important to have your phone. And I'm going to go on my phone now and basically go to that same page, hit refresh. And as soon as I did that, it says user connected. So if I refresh again, it disconnects and inconnects. So every time I hit refresh, I'm able to, basically on my phone, I'm able to make something happen in my browser, which is, I think is really cool. And I can be in Malaysia and on my phone accessing this domain name, pushing this button and making something happen on my computer in Palo Alto, California. So it's pretty cool. And the way to get to this console is you go on your page, inspect element, and then click the console tab. Basically, that's all you need to do. So test this if you want. Send me a link to your page, and I can test it as well. I can send you a connection to see if you guys can test it, or other people, you can send it to your friend. Okay, Ruan, I'm gonna go to your page. Okay, I'm at your page. Do you see it? So I hit refresh again. No? No? Okay. Let me see if I see it on mine. I'm going to hit inspect. Console. Ah, looks like you have some JavaScript errors. That's why. So let's look at your code, Ruan. All right. So the first JavaScript error says, viewport arguments value device for key width is invalid. It has been ignored. Oh, you shouldn't have any spaces here. No spaces, if you can. That's the first thing. Otherwise, it's going to look pretty ugly on your phone. I want to make sure it's like mine. Yeah, see, I don't have any spaces. The next error. Yeah, these are all with, these three errors all have to do with the viewport. So just kind of fix up that. And then you have an error on unexpected semicolon to end of argument list. That's kind of weird. That's what that is about. Script. Socket.js. I think it's something else. I don't think it's Socket.js. I think it's socket.io.js. So you need to put socket.io.js here. Okay, everyone? Let me know when you're ready. You can try it again. Once I get the chat window back up. Oh, you created your own socket file. I see. Okay, so let me go to your socket. And then Laura, if you can also share your link, I can then quickly look at it while I look at Ruan's. Oh, I see. So you put a libs folder? Okay. I don't know, Ruan. You might have in here. It might have been a typo or something. I recommend just trying to put it in there again. Okay, let's look at yours, Laura. All right, Laura's. Okay, let's see what we get. See if you have any JavaScript errors. Okay, IO is not defined, line 69. Oh, okay. That's a good one. All right. All right, so it's saying IO is not defined. So that means this IO comes from this library. So that means there must be an error here somewhere. So there's actually a typo right here. Do you see it, Laura? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, let's look at yours, Kanya, now. All right. Yours looks like ice cream. Now I want some ice cream. I don't see any errors at all. Okay. Oh, I got user connected, disconnected. Looks like it's working for me. Oh, now there's no error, Rowan. All right, cool. So Kanya, yours is working, looks like. Sweet, good job. Or connected. So, okay, now you're, there's no error, but it still doesn't work. Okay, let's take a look at that, Ruan. All right. All right, so IO tunnel. Oh, the problem is you have this function we call it Initialize Sockets here, but you never called it. So we need to call the function like this. And the reason why we have to do this is because this function we have to define as an async function. And we can't just write async code inside of the script element. We have to put async code inside of a function. So it's kind of weird that you have to define a function and call it, but that's the way it works. Yours still doesn't work, Laura. I thought, okay, let's take a look. Okay, async means, there's two ways. Async means when you talk to a server, you need that server to do something and then respond back to you with work. So you need to wait until the server is done doing something. So in JavaScript, there's two ways to wait. One is to create async functions. And whenever you have to wait for something to happen, you do this await keyword. So this line of code will pause the execution until the other server or the other thread is done, and then it will execute this code. The other way is through callbacks, which is something like this, where once something happens, you wait for something happens, and then you call a function when that happens. So there's two ways of doing this. And that's async is really just doing it more linearly. So you're not putting functions inside of functions, which some people find really confusing. Does that make sense, Ruan? Okay. All right, Laura, I'm looking at yours now. Let's see what's happening. Boom. All right, inspect console. I got disconnected, Lauren. Can you, yeah, I got user disconnected, connected. So it looks like it's working for me. Is it still not working for you, Laura? Laura, are you there? Or that doesn't appear in my console. All right. Okay, Laura, why don't you, let's just have you share your screen really quick. And let's just, because other people might be having the same issue. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'd love it if you can share your screen. It works now, Laura? Okay, you just reloaded. Got it. All right. Save you from having to share. All right, we're going to continue now. Now that we wrote the magic function that does things, that does the connection for us, we can now take advantage of it and go forward. Actually, I should probably explain the magic a little better. So let me just walk through this code, and then we'll go to the next step. This first line here is creating a new, creating a variable that we will use to talk to other browsers. And this tunnel here is telling our server that to open up a tunnel that this variable will use to talk to other computers with. So this Socket.io library does a lot of magic here. Why is Socket? This should be Socket.io.
Jared, can you share your screen?
Oh, thank you. Everyone doesn't. Okay, thank you. Share. All right. So I was just talking a lot of talk about this library here. So all we're doing is telling the server that, you know, we're going to set up a connection with other browsers. Then down here, we're going to call a function called Initialize Sockets, which then triggers all this code. The first thing we do is we have to tell the server what door, I call it like a door, or what phone number to assign to our browser. Okay. And I'm going to call this phone number chat. You can call it whatever you want. You can actually give it a number if you wanted, but it's easier to say I'm just creating a chat channel. Okay. And the thing is, this is your domain name and your server. So if everyone calls it chat, it's okay. It's all unique to your server. And then what we do is after the server creates this phone number for us that we can communicate with other computers with, we're ready now to send some communication. So this one right here just waits for the server to set everything up. And then this one does, if the server comes back with an error, let the user know that, oh, the server is having a hard time for some reason. And then these last three things I already talked about. So this is where we write code when someone sends us a message through this phone number. And this is when someone connects and disconnects, what we just played with. All right. So hopefully it's pretty easy to understand. Even though you won't be able to write it from scratch, but you can always be able to copy and paste it and put it in the other app you want and change things where you need to. All right. Now let's do the next section. So let's go ask the name of the person joining the chat. So this one I'm just going to type up. Okay, because this one's really simple to do. And this is really teaching you more about the language of JavaScript. All right. I'm going to, since I have a lot of code here I don't want to look at, I'm going to use this little triangle. There. I can't see it anymore. It's all hidden. And up here, I'm going to write some code here. And I'm going to say, the simplest thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say let name equals prompt. What is your name? Okay. And if I do that, it'll bring up a little pop-up here and it'll ask me my name. Like I put my name, Jared. Okay. So now I know who the person's name is. But the annoying thing is if I like reload my page, so I make another edit here to reload, it's going to ask me my name again. I just told you my name. I don't want to keep on telling you my name. Can't you remember what my name is? So what I'd like to do is not do it this way, but what I'd like to do is check to see if I've already saved the name. And there's a special variable you can use to store data in the browser. So it's called local storage. And I can check. I can say, go get this item name from local storage. Okay. Now, if there is no name, if it can't find any name in local storage, I can then write some code here to say, okay, let's ask the user for the name, and then let's put that into local storage. So I'm going to set item name to be whatever the user put in as their name. Okay. So now it's going to ask me because nothing's in local storage yet. I can put Jared here. Okay. And I can make another change here to refresh the page. And it's not asking me again because it knows my name. Okay. So the exercise I'd like you to do is type this. And then when you go over in your browser, there's this other tab when you hit inspect called storage. And in storage, you can see local storage. And in here, you can see name. So you can actually see that it's there. And then you can do cool things. You can delete the name. You can delete name here. Then if I refresh my screen, it'll ask me again, Jared. Okay. Go back to storage. Click here and click here. See, it's there again because I stored my name. So if I ever needed to delete my name, I can go in here and delete whatever I want. So spend about 5 minutes trying that out, write this code, verify it's stored in there, and try to get a feel how it works. And I can then answer any questions you have. So All right. So how do you change the name later? So yeah, that's what I was saying is you would go to inspect and you would go to storage. And I think it might be called something different in Chrome. If you're using Chrome, let me show you what's in Chrome actually, because I think all you guys are using Chrome. Let me do this in Chrome so you guys can see. Chrome. And if I go to inspect here in Chrome, it's called application. And then in application, you have local storage here. Same kind of thing. You can go in here and see it. You can change it. You can make it. I think you can go here, edit, not edit key, edit value. And I can change it here if I want, or I can delete it, refresh, and then re-enter a name, something like that. That's how you would change it, the name later when. Yes, Kanya, yes. Your local storage can be used to store your email and password. Now, the thing about that is anyone can then, who has access to your computer can go inspect, go to application here and see your password and email in plain text. So you would have to be careful if you do that. So there's ways to encrypt your password so people won't know what it is. But yeah, and there's other storage mechanisms. There's a session store. There's a thing called IndexedDB. There's something called Web SQL. There's like 4 different ways you can store information. And there's cookies as well. So 5 different ways to store information. Okay. And you're talking about password. Your password actually is encrypted inside of a cookie that you use to access your coding space. And you can see that in connect.sid. So information about how to, for the server to get your password is to know who you are is inside this cookie. But you can see it's really well protected because there's no way anyone knows my password by looking at that. All right. All right, give you guys till 5:30 to play with that. And then we're on our last little bit. The changing name thing doesn't really work. Okay, Ruin. Okay, I would love to see what you're seeing. Do you mind if I stop sharing and you can share and kind of walk me through what you mean? Thank you. All right. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, you can share. Okay, everyone. See what you got. Oh, that is empty. Okay, go to local storage. Go to inspect. Go to your application. Oh, no. Okay, so right click. That's username. Did you call it username or do you call it name?
I called it username.
Oh, you called it username. Okay, so then right click, delete that username in the application. So delete it there. Just delete. All right, now refresh your screen. And it should ask you again. If it doesn't ask you, then you need to look at your code. Okay, let's go look at your code. Because it didn't ask you again. Oh, now it says Rouen. Is that okay?
I think it works now.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right, I'm not sure what we did, but sounds good, Rouen. Thank you. All right. Wait, I'm unable to send messages. Yeah, I think Rouen skipped ahead, Laura. That's why. So don't feel like you're behind or anything. You're not. All right, so okay, it's 5:30. I don't see any more questions, so let's go to the next step. All right, so we finished getting the names and we finished creating the connection. So now we can put our last piece in and displaying the chat message. Okay. So I'm going to type this up, and this is again in the notes, so you can always copy it from there. We're in displaying the chat messages part. Let me just show you in case you're following along. We're at this part of the code right now. Okay. All right. All right. So let's get started then. So let's click down here. Yeah, click that so it doesn't blink at me. All right. So we're going to need to, first of all, we're going to need to be able to, when someone enters a message here and hits send, we're going to need to display it here. So there's 3 elements here. We need to get the value of what the person here. We have to know when they push the button, and we need to put things in the main. So we need to create 3 elements here for 3 variables here for each element. So constant, we're going to create for the main first, and using this document.query selector, I can just put main, and what this is going to do, hopefully you've seen it before, is it's going to go into the document here, the HTML document, and it's going to try to find the main element right here and put this whole main element inside of this variable. So we're going to do the same thing for the button. I'm just going to, this is, standard stuff. So button, you can copy and paste like I did, or you can just type it all out. And I put a $sign in front of the variable name, so I know it's an HTML element. So you don't need to put the $sign there. That's just my way of telling myself what this variable has in it. So I can read this variable and say, oh, this is a text area element. Okay. So now I have my 3 elements. Okay. Give you guys about a minute or so to catch up with me. And I'm trying to get my Zoom chat here. So Rouen, I hope that makes sense. You don't need the $sign. It's just for me, when I look at my code, I know what's in that element. Okay. All right. Okay, hope you guys all have that. Next thing I want to do is when I click this button, I want something to happen when I click the button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function called send message. And right now I'm just going to put an alert here, like hi. something simple so that I know when I click my button, send message is getting called before I actually write that code. So all I have to do to tell the code to call send message when I click the button is I add an event listener. So anything you do to the page, it will be triggered as an event. And I can say it's a click event. So whenever this button experiences a click event, call send message. So if I do that and I click the button now, I get hi. So every time I click the button, it will say hi. Hi. Okay. So I'll give you guys a minute just to play with that and answer any questions you have. All right, give you guys 20 more seconds, but yeah, feel free to ask questions if things are not working. All right. Our next job is, now that we kind of have everything wired up and the variables defined, we can now work on sending the message. So the message is inside of this box. So what I can do is I can get our message. I can create a variable here called message. And I can get that from our text area just by calling text area.value. So text area.value will hold the information I type in here. So if I want to see it, I can alert that message right now. So I'm just gonna type something, hello world, and I hit the send. And now I know for sure my variable message has my message in it. Okay. All right. All right, give you guys another minute to make sure that works for you and wrap your head around that. Okay. All right, assuming you guys have that working, what we want to do is not put the message in an alert box. We want to put the message we want over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to create a div. So down here we have this like div me blah, 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 blah. So our messages are inside this div. So we're going to create another variable here called, I'm going to call it a $div. And instead of doing document.querySelector, I'll do create element. And this is going to create a new element called div. And my div needs a class me. So I can just put $div class name equals me. Okay. And inside of it, I have a message. So put something inside of it, use this inner HTML. And I'll just put my message there. And finally, I need to add this div inside the main. So I can do the main.append child. So because these elements are children of this element. So I'm appending the child. And so appending means just put it at the end of the list of children. Okay. So if I write those 4 lines of code, I got rid of my alert. So now when I type something, like, okay, I'll try something better. Hello world. Send, it now appears here. Okay. So I'll give you guys a minute to write that up. And ask any questions you have. Okay. Now our next task is to let our friend know what we sent. Okay. So to do that, we need to use that socket variable that we defined right here that allows us to talk to the other computers. So now we get to use that. So we can, down here, we can now just write socket.emit, which is now we're going to emit our message and share it with the world. And we're going to share this on our phone number chat. And we're going to emit 2 pieces of information. One is our name, the name I entered, so the people who knows who's sending the message. And the second thing is the content of our message. So that's in this text variable here. Okay. Okay. So now I'm announcing it to the world. This is what who I am and my message. And then down here in this what to do when someone sends a message, we can now just copy and paste this code, really. Do the exact same thing, not the exact same thing, but very similar thing, where we're going to create an element, but this time the class name is going to be you because it's someone else sending the message. The inner HTML now is this inside this data object. So we have to extract message out of data. So it'll be, it's kind of weird, data.data.text. And again, we just have to add that to the main. So, so now I'm going to send a message on my phone, hello, and send. Let me refresh this one here. I don't think it works very well in the iframe, so let me do it here. Okay. Hi. And then send. There. So now you see hi. So now I can just type more. I can spam it now. I can just spam my friend if I want to. Spam, 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 spam. So so now I'm able to talk to my self. Okay. Or you can talk to your friends. So now you can actually have a conversation with someone. And the rest now is just basically sugar. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to play with that. And send me your link if you want me to test yours with you, or you want someone else to test it. If one person can send me their link, that would be great. I just want to make sure you guys have been quiet for a while. I want to chat with someone. All right, Laura, I'll chat with you. Cool. All right, Laura, see if this works. What's my name? Jared. Okay, and I'll go. Oh, send a message, send a message. Okay, hi, Laura. All right, I'll send you a message. Send. And I can spin. Yep, so we can spam. All right, cool. We can have a secret conversation. and you can see right away, one issue here is the scrolling. I'm doing good. So there's some sugar we need to add. Oh, I haven't hit the, you won't let me spin the button. There we go. I got it. I got my message. Okay, thanks, Laura. Cool. All right. So now there's a couple of things we need to do to make it, just look a little nicer. One thing we did in our example was we add the name next to the message. So to do that, instead of just putting the message, we can actually put HTML here. And I think I reviewed this before. There's this notion of a backtick. And in the backticks, you can just write HTML in here. So I have like a B element, which makes things bold. And a span element, which is kind of just a way to just put some text in an element without styling it. Okay. And in the B element, I'm going to put the person's name. So I need to take what's in the name variable and put it in the string. So this $ curly brace weirdness is basically taking out what's in the variable and injecting the contents here. And the same thing here. I can put in the message here. Okay. And I can copy that and do the same thing up here. But this time I need to do data.data.name and data.data.text. Because it's all stored in this data variable. Okay. So now I can write hello. And it has my name next to it. So if I, go back to my phone and spam myself again, I can put he, and then I can spam myself he. Okay. As you can see, there's no space here. So what I could do in my CSS is I could style my B element. Let's put a little B element here. And I can always put I can display it inline block. And what inline block allows me to just put some padding there if I want some padding. So I'll put padding on the right, just on the right. I just need padding of I don't know, 10 pixels or something. And then when I write my name here, or I write the message hi, hello, send, I have a nice spacing between the two. Now, if I want a colon or something there, I can, in my HTML, I can always put a colon here, I can put colon slash, I can space. I can, playing with the CSS animations, I can do animate, I can add an animation, I don't know, twirl. And here I can do my keyframes. You guys don't have to do this. I'm just kind of having fun here while you guys work on it. Twirl. And I can have from. If you remember, we did this last time with the twirling with the rainbow, I think it was. We can have a from to transform, rotate 0 degrees to 360 degrees. And now when I type my message, I have to tell it how long I want the animation. So I want the animation to go maybe 5 seconds, make it really slow. And I can test and send. And now my name twirls once. So every time I send a message, I can make a twirling animation. And I can just kind of spam different twirls and have fun with it. So try to do that in Snapchat or something you guys use. So you can have fun with animations and make your own little user experience. So if you guys want to try that, I'll put that in my I'll put that in the Zoom chat. What from the chat window? Chat. All right. All right, I'll give you guys another minute to play, play with making the HTML look the way you want it to look. Well, I'm gonna actually do it on my test here too. Oh, that's right, I have to do it here. Refresh. So now I have it twirling over there. Yay. And I can also enter emojis. Where did my emoji go? Send. All right, finishing up with a couple other things that were in the notes. One annoying thing with this is when you have lots of text. So if I spam myself, I have to scroll down to see what someone sent. So there's this line of code in the notes that you can put in after you add it. You can tell it to scroll basically to the bottom of the main element. So I'm putting that in both of my places here. So once it's done saving, you can see what happens. So I can go, hi. I'm just gonna put like lots of highs. So you can like really have fun spamming, send. And then you can see when I get down below, now it's always showing you the most recent down at the bottom. Okay. And the other thing is when you load the app, you have to come down here and click on the text area. So at the very bottom of the JavaScript, you can add this line here, which will just say when you load the page, put the cursor here. So you see when I load the page, the cursor just is right here magically. I don't have to worry about it. So if I refresh, I can just refresh and just start typing. I don't have to go down here and click. Okay. That's that one. And the other thing is after I'm done typing something, it's great for spamming, but in reality, I'll probably want to delete this and type a new message. So you can do that here after scrolling down. You can just set the text area value to nothing. Okay. All right, Ruan, you have a problem. My name doesn't show from some reason. Okay. All right, so Ruan, let's look at your code. Let's see, which one are you? You are. Do you want me to send me your link again, Ruan? Or actually, I can scroll up. I'm not that blind. I can go here. And let me see what you got. Okay. Inspect. Console, no errors. Cool. Send. Oh, I see no name there. Inspect. Yeah, there's no name there. Okay, so I'm gonna look at your code. And let me hide this. Let's see how you did the name. So here you're calling get name name. Okay, that's good. Okay. And so your variable name is name here. Let's see what you put in here. Ah, you have an uppercase N. So what you need to do here is you need to change this to lowercase n. So change your variable to lowercase name, like these 4 things. And then it should work. All right, Uwen? So JavaScript, the variable names are case sensitive. So you have to make sure that everything is the same case. All right. Since we only have like 5 more minutes left, I did promise you I wanted to show you how to add this app to your iPhone screen. And if you, I know there's a way to do it on your Android. I just don't know how to do it. But let's say I wanted to add this app URL to my screen, so I can just click on icon. So what I would do is I would go to my page, actually to the editor, click my little emoji, not my emoji, my QR code, and take a picture of it. Okay, so now I have it on my app. Okay. Then down here, there's some icons here you can use to do some things. So you want to hit the middle icon, the share icon. So you bring up that share icon, and then you scroll, and there's a section called at the very end when you scroll down. So when you scroll down, you can scroll up, I should say. And then there's a series of options here. And one is called add to homepage right here, down at the very bottom. If you click that, you can then, it will give you a dialog. You can put like a little title for it. You can just add there. And now it takes a screenshot of my page and adds a little icon there. So then I can just click on it and then immediately just send messages to myself or to my friends. Okay, so that's how you can actually build a little mobile app without having to go to the browser. Anyone have any questions? Let you guys play with that for 3 minutes. Otherwise, yeah, just ask your questions or you're free to go.
And Jared, can you explain the challenges?
Oh yeah, I forgot the most fun part, the challenges. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Kie. Can't put everything in my head. All right, so getting back to my my notes here. All right, so in the we have 2 challenges. One is the open challenge and one's the Qoom challenge. And again, you know, not too many people submit this, so it's a free $50 if you do it, or free $40, or a free $10. So, but it's a little harder. So there's the first one is just make your own chat app. Really, just take what you've done, add more style elements, just do what you feel comfortable with, and try to get something, you know, creative done. And then, you know, push yourselves also. If you want to know how to do something and I haven't taught it to you, just go to the internet, Google it or search it. And there's tons of resources out there. Whatever you wanted to do, someone else has probably wanted to do, and they posted a solution out there on the web for you. So just have fun making your own personalized chat app and styling it. So the second Qoom challenge is more specific. And what I want you to try to do is when you add things to your chat app, it'd be nice to also show a date here, so you know when you sent the message, and style the date. So I haven't really taught you how to get a date But it's really easy. You can just search the internet and figure it out. And I'm going to leave that as something you guys can search here on your own. Good programmers and web developers and designers, they're self-learners. They just don't stick with what they learn from other people. They go out and hunt and try to discover how to do things on their own. So I would like you guys to take up that challenge and figure out on your own how to add a date and submit it if you don't know how already. All right, any questions on the challenges? All right, I think that's it then. Thank you, everyone. And I'll stay online if anyone else has questions. So you're free to go or ask questions.
No, but actually, can you go through the last thing that you mentioned again?
About the challenges or about in the code? Kanya? About adding the date?
About the code.
The code piece. Okay, sure.
Like, the one where you sync the thing to the image.
Oh, how to send the images. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. So the way our chat works is you can add anything HTML here. Since you guys know HTML now, we don't need to build a UI to hide HTML. We can just leverage our skills in HTML. So I can just write an image source here. And then I can send an image. So I can just go over here, find an image of I don't know, a potato images. And I can find a potato image. And then I just copy the image location. And then, wow, I have way too many things open. Yeah, here. And I can send my friend a picture of a potato. I can also do YouTube videos. So let's say I want to have a YouTube video. You don't even have to write HTML for this. You can just go to youtube.com. I don't know, go to, I don't know, potato again. And Potato Man. Or maybe I want to show someone Potato Man. Well, I would pause Potato Man. I would go to share, go to embed, and then I can send someone this HTML code. And bam, I would have Potato Man in my chat. So I can send someone pictures and videos. If you're on Discord, you can actually embed Discord servers inside of your chat app. So you can have a chat app inside of a chat app. Anything with HTML, you can just add there. All right.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about wait for someone to build a feature for you. You can just put it in yourself. Cool. Great question, Kanya. Thank you for reminding me about that part. And cool. And please use your app. One way of coding is just to build something you use and then make it your own. And so I hope this is a great starter project that you guys can make something your own and something you can enjoy with your friends. All right. All right. Bye, guys, then. I'll sign off then and have a good week and hope to talk to you guys in the future.